Alone in the Dark is one of those franchises that's mostly known for its heritage, for the influence the first entries made on the game industry, but it never really managed to capture lightning back in the bottle. And now, 32 years later, Pieces Interactive releases their take on the original game, some kind of reimagining of Alone in the Dark of 1992. Even though it's been several months since the release, this video is spoiler-free as it can be, and gameplay footage covers only the first hours of the game. As before, you take on the role of Edward Carnby or Emily Hartwood to find her uncle Jeremy, who was being treated at the Derseta Manor, which is psychiatric asylum this time. In his paranoid letter to Emily, he suspects that the hospital staff and patients are part of some kind of voodoo cult. At the same time, suffering from being possessed by an unknown entity, the so-called Hartwood curse, he asks her not to approach the estate under any circumstances. A request that we ignore at the very beginning of the game, and plunge into the abyss of growing madness, calling into question the sanity of each of the heroes and revealing their dark past. In the original game there were no difference between playing as Edward or Emily. This time you'll get a bit different campaigns. Interactions with staff and patients will be different. Some of the puzzles will change and both will have one completely unique level closer to the end of the game. Apart from this, there will be no fundamental differences. These are not two complementary campaigns, but one that will differ in places depending on the character we play as, but leads through the same main stops. So it's not completely the same thing that we had in Resident Evil 2 Remake, for example, where two campaigns were completely independent. And before we proceed any further, let me tell you something. If you're expecting something like Resident Evil 2 Remake scale of a game, you'll be disappointed. It is much smaller, more intimate game of much lesser production. And even though it is a survival horror and does have a combat mechanics, to which we will return later, it is also more of an investigation adventure game. It centers around solving mysteries rather than trying to survive some horrible events, so be prepared for slower sections, where you'll be immersed in the early 20th century Louisiana aesthetics mixed with Lovecraftian and voodoo folklore. So if you're fine to take it slow, to open your eyes and ears and let it sink in, then you're in for a treat. Because this game is beautiful. It really has a gorgeous looking locations. This time you're not limited by Derseta only, which is much more than it was before on its own. You'll be visiting other very diverse and surreal places. Let's combine this with a range of sound effects, starting with squeaking of the old mansion, occasional water drops, blows of the wind, etc. And you'll find yourself at the edge of your seat with all your senses on alert. Finally, I can't help but mention this smooth noir jazz that serves as a soundtrack. Nothing works better to put you in the shoes of an occult detective than this. In terms of gameplay, I will divide the game into calm and dangerous segments. During calm you're exploring the areas, solving puzzles, interacting with people around. During dangerous you're fighting monsters, walk through spooky places, run for your life at some moments, or use stealth to get by unnoticed. And before everyone freak out, stealth is optional. You'll immediately identify stealth areas, they're very obvious, very simple and thank God not mandatory. You can sneak behind the enemies, you can distract them by throwing objects lying around. Ammo is scarce, but still enough to support you. Always had a few for each weapon, and combined with melee attacks and molotovs that usually generously placed at some battle arenas, well, so-called battle arenas, you'll always have a means to protect yourself. Coming back to puzzles, this is where I felt that it might have been a bit too simple. I'm not saying that I'm good at puzzle games, I just felt that they were too gentle to a player, maybe too shallow. You will find plenty of clues throughout the game, and some of them are bluntly saying the right answer. By the end of the game, I felt like I was missing some of the more complex and intricate puzzles. I can't stress enough how brilliant David Harbour and Jodie Comer as Edward and Emily. from interactions with people of their Seta and subtle gasps during intense moments, which made characters real and believable, to powerful emotional moments closer to the end of the game. Throughout the two campaigns, I never once had the feeling that the main characters and the characters around them were flat or uninteresting. The only thing I would like is a deeper system of dialogue with patience and stuff. The secondary characters are no less intriguing and I wanted to get to know them better. Overall, this is a great gift for fans of the series who haven't seen a good game in a long time. There are a lot of references to previous games here, which are a lot of fun to find. In some places the game even breaks the fourth wall, but only in hints. There is no farce here, just a love letter to the first game and the people who care about it. And these were my thoughts on Alone in the Dark. Now, let me know in the comments if you liked the game, does it meet your expectations, what did you like and what did you not, would you like to see a sequel from Pieces Interactive, and thank you for watching, see you next time.